In 2003, Call of Duty burst onto the scene and quickly became the premier military video game. 4 years later, an Assassin's Creed releases, setting the blueprint for just about every subsequent Ubisoft game. Now, in 2024, both Goliath franchises are set to release another installment, leading us to examine the ridiculous longevity of these two franchises. This is the Good Game, Bad Game podcast.
This is a song I wrote about the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. Good Game, Bad Game podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, and with me is a man who is out late celebrating the retirement of notable bad umpire Angel Hernandez. It's my co-host, Mike. Mike.
That actually happened?
Yeah, he retired.
That's awesome.
I know.
One down and however many umps there are in the league to go.
They're not all bad.
I don't care. Replace them with AI.
Not all umps.
In game.
How you doing?
I'm good. Don't ask me about what I played this week.
What'd you play this week?
I just said not to do that. I didn't do my homework. So there's that.
Your homework was Hellblade 2.
To play all of Hellblade 3 times.
Okay.
I just want to say though, almost immediately after we got done recording yesterday, all I saw was good stuff for Hellblade. Which I just thought was funny because until recording, almost all I saw was basically dog shit. And then as soon as we got done recording, everyone's like, "This is actually really good, despite it being short."
Yep. I also
Sweet. Now I look like a dick.
I also thought that was funny. I did still see a few people who were like, I think disappointed is just the word. Because yeah, I mean, now from every like critical viewpoint I've seen, for the most part, like the scores have been solid, but when it comes to like individual takes, disappointed seems to be the right word.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was funny.
Well, maybe this week I'll do my homework. We'll see, and then I can come up with my official GGBG rating.
Okay, great. I look forward to it.
Sure you do.
Honestly, I mean, I of course just played MLB, so I can't really like dog on you. For not, because it's like basically, what did I even do? You know?
Yeah. My
Earthbound save stayed, like that didn't wipe or anything, so that was good.
That's fantastic news.
But that game's rather difficult, or Shelby and I are just bad, or both. So we made almost zero progress. We played for 4 hours, and I think we made like minimal progress last week. But it's a fun game. I enjoy it. Yeah. Trying to think if anything else. I did play. There's a game called The Wild at Heart. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
It gives off what I believe Pikmin is like. You have little guys following you, and you toss them around, and they help you complete puzzles.
Yeah, it's the essence of Pikmin.
Yep. So it was basically a game like that. Had like a cool art style, and overall was just very chill, very quick game. So I did play that within the past week. But that's it. Not a lot to write home about. So let's
let's move on, I guess.
Let's get into what we were going to talk about today. I thought it would be fun because we got a look at, a teaser for the new Assassin's Creed game that we knew was going to be taking place in Japan. I think we got that teaser like 2 weeks ago and got confirmed. It was like codename Assassin's Creed Red. Now it's Assassin's Creed Shadows or Shadow. And then within the past week, I believe, we got the first teaser for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. There was a really funny clip from kind of funny Tim Geddes. They were like talking
Was it
about
really funny or kind of funny? Make up your mind.
it. Yes.
Okay.
Good job. They started talking about it, and he goes, "Is this the first game to have to like? Is this the first numbered game to make it to 6?" And Greg Miller had that like they both had that like we're so high moment where they were like, "Wow, oh my god!" And then immediately it was like off camera, and then Greg at the like everybody all at once was just like, "Well, there was Resident Evil 6, Dragon Quest 6," and they just started rattling off every fucking game that has 6.
Skyrim 6.
Oh, that was they said Elder Scrolls 6 because it's going to be coming out, like it's already been announced at least. And he goes, Tim Geddes goes, "Yeah, but is Elder Scrolls 5 really in the title?" And they pull up a picture and he's like, "God damn it."
There are times when we do this podcast and I'm like, I'm really not qualified to do this
Mm-hmm.
because comparatively, I know very little about video games.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a great personality, and that's what counts. And this just validated me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here we are.
Right. I mean, it's just anybody can just talk, And I
Nobody can do it for 3 fucking years.
can't tell if there's some bitterness there, but we'll move past it. Anyway, I thought it would be fun to talk about these two franchises because I know I at the very least, I dog on Call of Duty constantly. But I mean, there is something to be said with how impressive it is that a game that came out in 2003, a franchise that started in 2003, and has had a year, like it skipped 2004, and then I'm pretty sure it had a yearly release every single year from that point on. That's insane.
Are we talking Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty?
Call of
Assassin's
Duty.
Creed?
And then Assassin's Creed is not too different. Assassin's Creed had a couple of gaps, but almost yearly from 2007 to now. It's just insane.
Is Assassin's Creed still on their like 2-year release schedule, or did they go back to annual?
They have a weird schedule anymore. Um, give me a second. So Valhalla
And
came
maybe
out.
it's not important, but
Yeah, Valhalla came out in 2020, and then Mirage didn't come out until 23, and then Shadows is set to come out this year in 24. And they've had
maybe
like
that was just weird COVID timing.
yeah, they also had a weird timing because I actually remembered there being more time between Origins and Odyssey, but technically they released a year apart. So it was like Syndicate in 15, Origins in 17, Odyssey in 18, Valhalla in 20. But 2009 through 2015, they had yearly releases. And in 2014, they actually had that dual release where Assassin's Creed Rogue released on like PS3 and Assassin's Creed Unity released on PS4. And they like still had like, but it was like exclusive at first. And then I think later on, Rogue had a release for, I'm pretty sure it got like a remaster or something like that for PS4. But yeah, so I mean, it's like equally as crazy. And I was trying to do some digging. I think Call of Duty is like 15th in terms of like total number of games, I technically don't know if that's only counting major releases. Um, but every other game series that is ahead of it started in like the fucking 80s. And like that just like that's how like crazy it is to have
Do
20
you have
games
that list
out.
in front of you?
I think I have it. Give me 1 second.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought.
No, it's just crazy to like to simply have that many um released within a 20-year period, like to have basically 20 games in 20 years is pretty crazy. What are you looking for the list? Just what else
I
is
just
on it?
wanted to see, like, I don't need all, whatever it was, 15, 14 or 15 in front of it, but like, what's number one?
If I had to guess, Mario.
Has Mario really had that many games?
I think it's probably counting side games.
Oh, okay.
It's the series with the most entries because yeah, if you're counting 2D, 3D, Mario Kart, Paper Mario, Mario 10, like Mario as
Gotcha.
a, entire thing. That's not really the same. Like if you were only to like consider like 2D Mario is a series, how many are there? It's like one per console, right? Just about.
Yeah.
Early days they had multiple, but
That's
anymore.
if you include like the remakes for the games that didn't sell.
Right. Like I would think Call of Duty actually has more. And obviously Call of Duty wasn't always what it is today. It has changed to some degree, but for the
But
most part,
conceptually,
right. Right.
it's the same exact thing it's always been.
And even if you only consider Call of like if you only break it down in terms of like it being the massive like online hit, I mean that started with its fourth entry. Like you know what I mean? Like Modern Warfare, I believe, was the first one that had online, because I think 1, 2, and 3 were all just single player and released like PS2, and I think the first one was technically PC only. Um, so if it did have any sort of like PvP or something, it was probably all like couch, not
Mm-hmm.
online. Uh, it's just like when I stop to think about both of these franchises, both Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, it kind of blows my mind a little bit that they are still not, I guess technically not that they're still going, but that they're going and at the rate that they kind of have always been going at. Um, because yeah, I mean, I can sit here and say like, well, the Legend of Zelda is how old, right? But it's like, yeah, but there's how many years in between each Legend of Zelda installment, and also, I feel like from game to game, Zelda does like a good job of introducing a new gimmick for that game or something along
Mm-hmm.
those lines. Whereas for the most part, Assassin's Creed was the same game. Call of Duty was the same game, just with a slightly new coat of paint year after year. So why have they been able to stay this relevant and this successful?
I I mean, my only thought is that they have developed some sort of like, how do I phrase this? Like a fundamental game mechanic in the players' brains. They're like, this is a foundational game. Like it's just perfect gamification, I guess.
Like, the recipe is already perfect. There's nothing that needs to change.
Yeah. And for some reason, like nobody's really been able to replicate it. Like you think about the number of Call of Duty competitors there have been
Mm-hmm.
over the 21-year history now. Battlefield was the closest for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then they fucked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Now I couldn't even tell you anything that's even close to Call of Duty. Like if people want to play a game like that, they just want to play Call of Duty.
I mean, think about how many Call of Duty competitors released a game, had a gimmick for their game that people really got on board with, and how quickly Call of Duty said, "Yeah, but we're also doing that." Like, wasn't it Titanfall that like introduced the concept of like wall running in combat?
Yeah.
And then like the very next game, Call of Duty was like, yeah, that's what advanced warfare is. We run on walls now. That's how warfare
Yeah, I mean
advanced.
Advanced Warfare basically was Titanfall,
Right.
which is a shame because that is probably what killed Titanfall.
And then Battlefield released a World War II game that was like attempting, I think, to be like, I'm not gonna say hyper realistic, not like uh Hell Let Loose, uh sort of like military game, but certainly a bit more. You're not using, these like crazy assault rifles and stuff like that. And the very next game was Call of Duty World War II, where they just took the same idea basically and said, yeah, but we can do that too.
We look like back even further than that. I think Battlefield was it 1942? Like I think that was, if not the very first Battlefield game, one of them. I'm pretty sure that came out before World at War. And then World at War came out and crushed it.
So I mean, I guess like that's one thing, right? Like they've adapted when necessary without needing to change, to your point at the top, without needing to change the actual formula. Right? They introduced a fucking battle royale mode once that blew up, and it's like, how many battle royales have we watched try and come out and do the Fortnite and fail? Technically, do the PUBG,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
which died because of Fortnite.
Hmm.
But it's like, but Call of Duty can do it.
And for a while there, Call of Duty had taken tons of market share from Fortnite. Like I remember a stretch like after 2020, basically, where the new version of Warzone came out, and that's all anybody was playing.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone I knew that played Fortnite had moved on to that, but now it feels like everyone's back on to Fortnite.
So one, that just shows the stranglehold that Fortnite has, but it also shows the uh, sheer power that Call of Duty also has. I mean, it's the best selling first person shooter game, like easily. And they can do it year after year.
Mm-hmm.
It's the cash cow that just keeps giving. And with all that, you get every single year people mad about the new game. And they're just like, oh, I'm just going to go play last year's game, the game that they were mad about a year prior. And that still doesn't stop people from getting it.
Because I feel like eventually the updates come in, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't really hear people complain anymore. So
Yeah, it gets to a state where everybody's, for the most part, at least, happy with it.
complacent.
Yeah. But it's just so funny, right? Like year in, year out, and it just does not matter. And then looking at Assassin's Creed, I kind of said it at the top, and again, you bring up a good point about when a formula is good, why change it? And it got to a point where Assassin's Creed did need to finally change it and become this more open world action RPG type game versus, you know, just playing in old Rome and killing a few political figures. Like, let's explore bigger, meaningful worlds and try and build this like bigger story of gods and stuff like that. But I kind of was half joking, but also 90% serious with the opening to this episode. You look at Assassin's Creed, that is the Ubisoft game. That is the prototypical Ubisoft game. Every single Ubisoft game is climb a tower, open the map, jump off, kill like figures to work your way to the boss of a faction and stuff like that, right? And it's like, that's just Assassin's Creed. Really, like every game has built off of Assassin's Creed. And we've seen, Far Cry, they've managed to keep beating that and getting a game out of that series every couple of years. But that's a slower development. Yet again, outside of just a few gaps in releases in terms of yearly, they've basically had a yearly release. Counting real quick. 14 games in 17 years is what it'll be when Shadows comes out. And it sells, right? Like, it sells well. I think the Wikipedia article I'm looking at says 200 million copies as of September 2022.
23 million total, like across all entries, or
just 200 million
across all entries.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
I guess, like, at this point, will it ever die? Will either of these franchises ever die?
Call of Duty, I think, is going to have more players than ever this year because it'll be on Game Pass. So I guess, it's hard to say. Like, I really doubt Call of Duty's going away. It's really just going to depend on, like, if Microsoft kills it or not. Assassin's Creed, I would sure really like if it would die.
It's somewhat hard to fathom. Again, 14 games in 17 years, and then Call of Duty, it's 20 games in 20 years. Again, like, I know there are franchises that have been running for longer. The easiest one is like Legend of Zelda, right? Because people still go absolutely nuts for those games. But again, there's how many years in between each of those releases? Imagine if there was a new Legend of Zelda game every single year. Do we think that people would still be as high on it as they are?
I really don't know.
I
have to ask, like, Chris and Jess.
Yeah.
What they would think of that.
I think the idea of it might be, like, it might sound great, right? Because if you love any game, it's like you want more of it. But also thinking about, like, the attention to detail and the work that is put into creating just one Zelda game, why would you want to rush that? And any yearly release I can like think of, sports games kind of being the prime candidate, right? Without fail, there's always going to be a new iteration of Madden year in and year out. It's like we've seen the deterioration of game franchises when they release year after year. We can very clearly see the like lack of care that goes into some of these games. So it's just like thinking about how popular the series is in terms of Zelda. I wonder if people would grow tired of it, or if people would kind of get put off by what actually gets released, because would it be more likely to kind of just be slop that they kind of hand to you and say, here, play, look, your Link, it's great, you love it, give us money. Right? Because
in my head, that's the model. I mean, it's you put the same shit out every year, and it just comes down to advertising. Like, how do I phrase this? Like, that's the reason the annual games have advertising every year. Like, you see Call of Duty commercials on like during football games, or you see Madden commercials, or I can't remember if we see like um Assassin's Creed commercials, but I feel like probably.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what it would be. You'd have new Legend of Zelda every year, and then you'd get commercials showing you why you should get it. And then nothing they show you will actually be gameplay footage. It's got a commercial that's going to be on network TV. And then you'll buy it, and you'll say, this sucks. And then you'll buy it again next year.
Like, there has to be some sort of drug that is like leaked out of controllers when you play a Call of Duty game or an Assassin's Creed game that gets you just extra hooked, that you're fine to just pay the money to get the next one that comes out a year later.
I texted my brother to see how he'd feel about a new Legend of Zelda game coming out every year, and I'm just waiting for him to respond to see if I can say what he said.
Okay, cool. Well, I will look forward to that. Another,
it's of course, a very loaded question, but
yeah. Also, hopefully, you weren't able to give like a ton of context in the message, so that we can just read his answer and potentially make him look foolish.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I was considering when looking at both of these franchises, I think you're right. I think for Call of Duty, it's like it's in just enough of a niche. I mean, I guess military shooters are a dime a dozen, but in the sense that it's so clearly the best or favorite, I'll say, right? Like, that it's just like impossible to top. Again, we've seen competitors. Whereas a game like Assassin's Creed, it's very easy to get another RPG game to play that is, better than it and whatever. So Call of Duty, I agree, I don't think is really going to go anywhere. With Assassin's Creed, we've seen them lately change kind of their model, and then with like Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, and then Mirage. I haven't had the chance to play it, but from my understanding, it kind of returned to form of like the old Assassin's Creed games, right? Mm. And now with Shadows, they're kind of doing, I mean, something that people have been kind of begging for forever, which is, they did like, they did Assassin's Creed for like 5 games where it was just you're Altair, you're Ezio, you're just an assassin, right? And like, okay, we've played this out. And then they did like the fun stuff where it's like, oh, what if it was during the Civil War, Revolutionary War.
Revolutionary War.
What if you were an assassin pirate? What if you were an assassin in 1800s London when Jack the Ripper was running around? And like they kind of did those things where it's like, okay, but the formula was still overall just Assassin's Creed. And then they kind of blew it up again and did the same thing though with moving to like different areas. So it was like, what if you were an assassin in Egypt and like very, very like old, like the pyramids are just being built, right? And they made it more fantastical and about like exploring like historical, like I guess that's always been Assassin's Creed, right? Which is exploring like historical events and stuff, but just diving into a bunch of different cultures. I feel like people have been screaming for give us like a samurai Assassin's Creed. And now we're finally getting that after we've gotten so many samurai games.
I was gonna say, like, I wish this would have come out before all that. But then again, like, I don't really give a shit about Assassin's Creed, and I was happy to see like Ghost of Tsushima come out, like, and all of the other ones because it's not Assassin's Creed, and some of them are smaller studios.
Yeah,
Trek Kiyomi and Sifu. I understand fundamentally different, but
sure.
conceptually the same.
I like my main question is just like where can they really go next to try and keep right, like for the most part it's like okay, you keep finding new like time periods and new significant historical events, but like where like the well is just we're hitting that point where it's like the well is running dry yet again, that it's going to be time already for another change. And are they just going to find a way? Is it going to finally be that they release whatever that live service Assassin's Creed game is that has apparently been in the works? Are they just going to finally release that and then that will just be Assassin's Creed forever from that point on and we won't get yearly releases? Like is that the way to go, or what are your thoughts?
I think they start the cycle again. So they'll go back to Italy for 2 games, to Revolutionary War again, London. Just keep going through the cycle. And by the time you get to the new game, everyone will forget about the last one. You'll be fine.
It just might work.
I wouldn't be shocked.
You start the game and you're playing in the real world and you're playing as a guy named Desmond and you're like, this is weird. I thought I was playing Assassin's Creed. Oh, what's this device? Oh my god. We're playing through the memories of an assassin? This is awesome.
What a profound idea.
They should make 13 more of these.
But they shouldn't all be like this.
No. They could probably make 8 or 9 like this, and then we'll get tired. It's.
I mean, I don't think your idea with the live service one is necessarily far off. Like, have one final like game, have content for how long has Elder Scrolls Online been out? Like 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
They could do that for 10 years.
But like, what? Like, what is the content of an Assassin's Creed live service game? How do you actually get me to keep coming back? At least, let's say, yeah, at the very least, how do you get me to come back basically monthly to at least play for a little bit?
I think you steal the elusive targets idea from Hitman.
Oh. Okay.
Like you get one shot. It's different every time. You get different rewards.
And you kind of have to like plan your assassination and do all that.
Right. Like they should give you like you get a 5-day period in a month where you can go and like actually do the assassination.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the time you get like you're trying to dig up information that'll help you be like more successful once the time comes that you can actually like pull it off. So like basically you spend 3 weeks planning and then 1 week of executing.
Okay. But like, what do you get out of it?
Uh, Hopefully not good real world experience. Um,
I mean, I guess I don't know. What do you actually get out of
what do you
Hitman?
get out of any video game?
Yeah, but like with Assassin's Creed, you get this like giant overarching story typically that is like contained within a 100-hour gift wrap box, and then like you move on. But like, what kind of keeps moving you forward outside of just, well, yeah, just on the first of every month we set up the new target and you plan, and then like,
I
is
think
that
for the
enough?
I think for the majority of people,
Oh, so I'm the problem.
yeah,
All right, I can accept that.
people like you and me, least qualified to have a gaming podcast in 2024.
Because we are not the majority.
Yeah, we could have done this 10, 15 years ago.
I don't know. I feel like personally, given the landscape of what else is out there, I feel like a live service Assassin's Creed game is basically dead on arrival. And just knowing Ubisoft, like, are they really going to? I mean, it is Assassin's Creed, so part of me wants to say yes, they would just keep it alive. Um, but also knowing Ubisoft, I feel like they'd almost be quick to cut the cord.
Yeah. Well, they're run as a business more than a game studio. So as soon as they see that they're tanking money on it, they'll just kill it.
Like I can't imagine it going through a rough patch like Fallout 76 and keeping the servers online. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, and it won't be their only focus. I mean, Ubisoft makes so many other Assassin's Creeds,
And like that's the other
so
thing,
it's not
right?
like they can only focus on the one thing.
That's I think my biggest gripe when it comes to Assassin's Creed is, again, it has been the blueprint for every fucking other Ubisoft game in terms of like structure. So why do they keep coming back to it when they've shown that like it can work in other, I mean, you can attach the style to just about anything and just put it that you're in rural America fighting a cult, you know? And
Right.
instead of, using a hidden dagger, you're using a rocket launcher that shoots goats or some shit. I don't know. Far Cry gets ridiculous at times. But you know what I mean? Like, and Far Cry does have a 6 in the title, by the way. Um
Mm.
that's another one that is like, okay, but it's also getting old at this point. So it's like the formula still works for the most part. I love a Ubisoft game. It's in games outside of Ubisoft, right? The whole concept of just dismantling a faction from the bottom layer to the top. Uh, it's pretty much how everything, I feel like, is. It's the bones of most games. Um, just give us new stories. Just give us something different. It feels gets to a point when you're 6-7 games into a series where it's like you got to come up with something new. You got to do something different, unless you're Call of Duty, to keep some sort of momentum.
Or here's an idea. Stop everything. Okay? Stop everything. And make a new fucking Splinter Cell.
Right. I mean, sure.
I don't even care if it's Assassin's Creed. It can literally be Splinter Cell skinned Assassin's Creed. I don't give a shit.
I mean, yeah, that would work, right? Wouldn't that do it for you?
It would be enough. It's better than I've got right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think reviving a franchise, totally fine. But at the same time, it's like, just give us something new. I mean, I don't know, right? Like Immortals probably didn't do that well because that's also the climate, right? Which it's you have to have name power and you have to release a sequel because it's the most surefire way to probably make money. So I kind of get it at the end of the day. But look at like Watch Dogs Legion, right? You use the Watch Dogs name, but that is a totally different game. I mean, Watch Dogs 2 was already fairly different from Watch Dogs 1, but Watch Dogs Legion is like so different. uh and unique and a lot of fun.
They could literally take the Assassin's Creed methodology for Watch Dogs, and I would buy it every year.
Like do a Watch Dogs game that takes place in Egypt when the pyramids are being built.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
I'm with it. You just get like teleported back in time and you're just in Egypt with a phone.
You want to make a really stupid case for that, like communication and like, I mean, technology to a degree was a thing when the pyramids were being built.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You could make a compelling case for a Watch Dogs in ancient Egypt, I think. Just don't call it Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, but also I think like to your point, even if you did just do it's relatively current day, right? Like we've seen it in 3 locations. I forget where the first one takes place. I want to say Chicago.
First Watch Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Chicago.
Okay. And then the second one's San Fran.
Mm-hmm.
Third one's London.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hit up another map. Tokyo, right? That's kind of a no-brainer major city that's techie and right? Like
yeah, you could do like Tokyo, Shanghai,
yeah.
New York City.
Right? Like
Washington, DC.
You still have okay.
Miami.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Not Miami.
Boston.
Boston's not techie at all.
I said Austin.
Oh. Boston. You could do Boston.
You could do Boston. I wouldn't be able to do the accents the whole time.
You wouldn't be able to put up with it, you mean?
No.
Yeah.
Just driving, like how prominent driving is in that game, like it just sounds awful.
That would be terrible. I kind of hope they do it now. Yeah, I mean you have these other it's just it's interesting and a little crazy that Assassin's Creed has been the one to kind of prevail when you have other franchises that you haven't bled completely dry, that you have like kind of the open opportunity to do a similar thing with, which is basically beat it until you can't get anything else out of it. But
so the feedback I got from my brother.
Let's hear it.
Whether or not he'd be happy if there were an annual Legend of Zelda game.
Mm-hmm.
He said, and all I phrased it was, never mind, I'm not going to go there. I said, how would you feel if there was a new Legend of Zelda game every year? He said, assuming there would be no huge drop off in quality, I'd be cool with it. And then he went on to say, like, basically, words. Basically, if the game was rated 7 or above.
I mean, that's pretty much the like benchmark, right? For, I would say, like Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed isn't releasing a 10 out of 10 every year. I would say Zelda, every entry is close, right, to a 10 out of 10 experience. Like, people are like, this was a masterclass. This is a video game. I couldn't believe that I wasn't Zelda this entire time. That is the Legend of Zelda every single, right? Assassin's Creed is, I mean, again, I'm sure IGN gives all of them a 9, but like, I feel like for the most part, they're shooting for, if we can be at least a 7 out of 10, we're content.
It's enough to make money.
Because when it's Assassin's Creed, everybody understands that a 7 means good. You people. I'm going to pull up Metacritic real quick and see if I can pull up the Assassin's Creed. I don't know how easy this is going to be to do on my phone. Let's see. The first Assassin's Creed, 81.
Okay.
Valhalla, 80. I'm going to be jumping all over the place just as they are brought up. Odyssey, 83. Black Flag, you're going to hate this, 88.
Yeah, hate it. Hate it.
Assassin's Creed 2, 90, which I'm assuming that's their best one. Origins, 81. Brotherhood, 89. 3, 84. Syndicate, I think that's Syndicate. Yeah, 76. Revelations, 80. Rogue, 72. I'm not seeing any that are below a 70, and outside of 2, I'm not seeing any that are a 90 or above. So they aim for that 70 to 89, and they hit. And a lot of those were in the 80s, which is actually...
What was Unity?
I don't know if I saw Unity. Hang on.
They didn't want you to know about that one.
That's a good point. That one might be below a 70. I gave up on scrolling.
I mean, if that one's above a 70, then there's something weird going on, because that game was unplayable.
Here, I'll look it up specifically. Assassin's Creed Unity was a 72.
No way. Okay. They're in cahoots. None of these numbers are real.
Was Unity bad, or was it just the multiplayer?
I thought the multiplayer was the whole point. Like, I remember playing that game by myself, and it was just so boring.
Okay, but have you considered...
the concept of the multiplayer was cool, but then it was just awful.
Have you considered the following? From Emma... That's their name on Metacritic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you.
February 18th, 2024. I think people should give it another try about Assassin's Creed Unity, like with Cyberpunk. It was really horrible when it first came out, but now, 10 years later, and as a French person, this is Emma, not me, it is so amazing to be that much into our revolution with such a beautiful set and a story that fits well with what happened during that period. So have you ever considered that, Mike?
Here's the difference, Emma.
No.
Between Cyberpunk
Say it right.
Assassin's Creed Unity. Oh, sorry. Oh, Emma. Is that better?
No, it was Emma, because there was like 13 A's at the end. Sorry, keep going. The difference.
Unity wasn't updated like Cyberpunk was. So that's such a dog shit comparison. What website was that on?
That was on Metacritic. That was like a user
Emma.
review.
Delete your Metacritic account.
You gave it a 10 out of 10. Thiago Souza 7 on February 12th, 6 days before Emma, also gave it a 10. The game was horrible at launch, but today with the fixes, it is the best Assassin's Creed of all time. With a beautiful and detailed city.
Do you have time to play it today?
Do I?
Yeah.
I'm technically yes, but am I going to? Fuck no.
Why not?
Because I don't believe these people.
Even if you were playing with me.
How would we play it?
Online. On the PS4.
Do you have it?
Yeah. Do you not?
Give me a second. I'll go look. Vamp for 5 minutes.
I'm not going to vamp for 5 minutes. Just text me later. Did you actually leave? Okay, he's gonna go look.
No, I don't fucking have it. That game was dog shit.
I can't wait till you go back and listen to my vamping.
I won't.
Now you're making me question myself.
If you have it or not?
Yeah, because
go check. I'll vamp.
Okay.
Oh my god. Oh, I really wish I knew what he was doing to vamp so that I could do it as well. Maybe what if he was just quiet? What if that was the vamping and then I could just be quiet to match what he did so that I don't look foolish by vamping while he's gone. Hopefully this episode was at least semi-entertaining to look at two of the juggernauts of our time. When Mike comes back, I'm going to ask him if he thinks that when they released was important, because I don't think another game could have as successful of a run starting today. I think it would be impossible. But that's also, wow, I'll break it down with him when he gets back.
It's actually a really good thing I did that because I left my milk on the counter.
Uh-oh.
And I do still have it.
Oh.
Absolutely still have it. I don't think I ever got rid of any of my PS4 games. I think I still have every single one I bought.
I probably like traded in Assassin's Creed Unity for 20 cents, which had me like a third of the way to buying Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
See, I'm not of the buy high, sell low mindset. So I'll wait 20 years until somebody's like, man, like once it's actually, Emma, I appreciate you. One day your review will get out there and everyone will want it again and no one will be able to find it.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm going to go buy every copy of Assassin's Creed Unity for 20 cents.
Okay. What the fuck happened? What is in the water that people are playing Assassin's Creed Unity in like 2023? There's so many reviews. I mean, I can't believe there were 2 reviews from 2024. What is happening?
I can't believe that instead of working on my backlog, I'm going to play Assassin's Creed Unity.
That's what I mean. Like, you can't tell me.
Which is technically part of my backlog.
You can't tell me that you don't have. I mean, I guess it's a big enough franchise. While I was vamping, while you were away, a thought came to mind. Do you think the timing of when these games, when Assassin's Creed first released and when Call of Duty first released, is a reason why they're as big as they are? Like, was it just like a product of starting at the right time? I'm not saying, do you think because they released 20 years ago, they were able to live for 20 years? That's kind of obvious. But like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, was the
Yeah, everyone was
PS3?
still pissed off from 9/11, so they wouldn't play Call of Duty. I got you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, kind
Where
of,
you were
I
going with
guess.
this, right?
I guess. No, because the first Call of Duties weren't. The first Call of Duties were very much like World War II vibes.
Well, they didn't want to make it that obvious that they were training you to join the military.
They made it pretty obvious with Modern Warfare 2.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you said they were World War II, so they had to teach you your war history first
Uh-huh.
until you came of age.
Uh-huh. And
And
they
then
were
that's when
like,
you were playing Modern Warfare through Modern Warfare 3 and Black
you
Ops.
know that thing that happened almost a decade ago that you were barely relevant for? You should be angry about it.
You should be willing to kill another man for it.
uh but like, with Assassin's Creed, was it did was 2007 the perfect landscape and timing for that game for it to blow up?
I think there was just like I remember the first time I saw somebody play Assassin's Creed and with like the movement throughout the game, like the parkour, how at the time how big the world was, like how satisfying the combat was. It was completely revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like Assassin's Creed was one of those games in like the PS3 generation where like, "Oh my god, this is something big." And so I think that's just carried on. We'll ignore the fact that we've been playing for 17 years a game that impressed us on the PS3 and the PS3 alone, but
Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember the first time I watched somebody play Assassin's Creed. It was you. I watched you play Assassin's Creed.
yeah, were you impressed?
I was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, look at him move. I was
First
watching.
ever
I was
platinum.
watching you, not not the gameplay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
You look so cool. I need to look like that. Um, do you think a game could release a series? What's like a new IP we've just gotten?
Into Cyberpunk count?
Sure.
Not really a new IP, but new to like
Yeah.
video games.
I'm just trying to think. Could a game release today and kick off a series that lives for 20 years?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think the gaming landscape has changed too much over the past 10 years, 20 years, you know.
But isn't it crazy to
Mm.
think that, or like to like concede that, right? But also sit here and say Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty could probably live for another 20 years.
Mhm.
Like something can't start fresh, but something could continue for 20 years.
I think the closest thing would be like Fortnite. But even then, like we've seen the new shiny thing comes along
Yeah.
and people get distracted. The only thing with Fortnite is like the cultural things they've added.
Right. And I mean, when I say like something like starts and like lives for 20 years, I'm talking like yearly or like continuous regular installments.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I think the idea of live service has kind of killed any new entrance into that field.
Yeah.
I think you get one game that gets frequent updates for 5 to 7 years, and that's it. I think that's the closest we're going to get.
The Destiny approach.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's just so interesting when you actually like stop and think about it.
So should we be celebrating Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed as
I,
the last bastions of mid to late thousands gaming?
mid to late thousands gaming that can still release a game every single year? Hell yeah, we should celebrate them. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Like, for all that it's worth, right? Like, I can sit here and get annoyed that both of them still exist, but it's because I'm impressed. It's the Brady treatment. People hated Tom Brady, but like when you stop and realize that it's impressive. Did you just spill your coffee?
I didn't, but I almost did.
I can't believe Discord allowed that to come through.
Fuck you, Discord.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's like at some point you got to quit the hating and kind of tip the cap. And that's definitely where I'm at with these two games.
It's really, I mean, you make the perfect point. I mean, it's really just annoying. I'm less annoyed about Call of Duty because Activision probably wouldn't be making anything else I give a shit about. But the fact that Assassin's Creed has effectively killed Splinter Cell,
Right.
that's just why I'm more bitter about that.
And see, I'm also more annoyed at Assassin's Creed because I've been able to move on and remove myself from Call of Duty, but I have played outside of Mirage every single Assassin's Creed game.
Wow.
And I know it's only a matter of time until I play Mirage. And I hate that. And that annoys me. But I'm still going to fucking do it at some point. Mirage is going to be on sale for $15, and I'll go, okay, I like Assassin's Creed enough to pay $15.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that's kind of how they get you. You know, they get the really diehard people paying $70 for it right when it comes out. But it does make that case. Like, you see it for $15 or $10 or like, I don't know, $20 and you get the last 3 games that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course you're gonna. It's not bad enough that you won't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not you'll actually play them is beside the point.
Yeah, totally different story. Yeah, it's crazy. It's annoying. Annoying is the perfect word to describe it. But yeah, I mean, as much as this was an episode to sit here and question how and be kind of in disbelief, it also had the intended purpose of kind of giving them their flowers because they deserve it.
Yeah, that's shit. I didn't think I'd be praising Assassin's Creed at the end of this.
especially because when I when I set this up, I said, how about an episode about the longevity of the two franchises and whether or not they should just go home and die already?
They should. It's like they're like how do you explain this? It's like the movie where like you're watching race horses and there's one that's like just on the edge of being glue. And you're like, come on, like you've got nothing to prove.
What?
But then at the end of the movie you find yourself rooting for that horse.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Disney makes some movies, dude. I'm just here.
Is that Seabiscuit?
Sure. That or Black Stallion, I don't remember.
Oh my god.
Black Stallion, the kids movie, not the porn.
All right.
Black Beauty. Black Beauty was the kids movie. Black Stallion was the porn.
I think Black Beauty is also a porn.
I don't remember.
Whew. But yes, at the end of the day, to be sitting here and praising both of these is quite the turn of events for both of us. Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I'm gonna go play Unity.
All right. Can't wait to hear about that instead of hearing about Hellblade 2.
Yep.
All right, that does it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Next week, we'll probably be guessing and putting together wish lists for Summer Games Fest. That's already the that weekend, next weekend, right? So that'll be fun. Look forward to that and see if we can predict or wish adequately. Thank you all so much for listening. As always, leave us a rating or review wherever you do listen to the podcast. It'd be greatly appreciated. And share this episode with somebody who loves the Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty franchise. And we'll talk to you next week.